Department of Truth, issue number 20. That's right, folks. It's been a hot minute since we were able to talk about Department of Truth. Tynan's a busy man. I'm not going to blame him for taking a moment to chill out. You know, he's got a lot going on. He's winning awards, never stops writing books. They are varying degrees of successful, all kind of losing momentum towards the end. But I will say, 20 issues into Department of Truth, it finally feels like we got to what he was trying to say. Lee Harvey Oswald sucks. If the whole book was just leading to that, well, you got there, buddy. You got there. So this issue is all about Matty, and Matty is Cole's husband. And the end of the last issue, we saw that Hawk Harrison picked up Cole's husband and was taking him to Black Hat, which is the Ministry of Lies new thing. We realized that they are Soviet, and that's a very prescient thing to do in today's day and age. So this entire book is from the perspective of Matty kind of being thrown into the deep end, seeing the video footage of his husband killing those two reporters, uncovering the truth about the Department of Truth. And now he's like, this is a lot to deal with. How am I supposed to wrap my head around any of this? It's a lot. And now, I want to say this very carefully. And I don't know why carefully. I just want to say it like this. So this is a lot of book, and we'll try to get through it, but if I skip over certain depictions of the art, just know it's fantastic. There's a beautiful sequence where it's just like Hawk's body like caressing and carrying all of Matty around, where he's just like consumed by the American flag and the stars are falling off of everything. It's very interesting, and you see kind of like Matty talk about how he met Cole. You know, he was just working for like a low-level blog, and he wanted to report on Obama's birth certificate, so he met a conspiracy theorist named Cole. They kind of hit it off at dinner. They started to like kiss a little bit, and he found out who Cole was, all about the satanic panic that he was a part of, and the Starface Man, and all these conspiracies and all this stuff that ruined his life. And that's just kind of how they learned to connect with each other. And then you see their head to the Ministry of Lies, and, you know, Hawk just shows Matty, Dick Cheney turning into a lizard and freaking out, and it's just like, whoa, what is going on? Just spiraling into madness, and you just see these beautiful pages where, like, the door is opening to the American flag, but the stars are swastikas, and it's just unreal. And you're looking at something that you can hardly describe what it is you're looking at. It's just insane, and you just see, like, Martin Barker is standing in this doorway of aliens, and you can clearly see he's, like, shadowy in this background, like this Soviet UFO. It's insane. So we get Matty to this Soviet place. It's the operations of Black Hat. There's Martians running around with, like, this Nazi UFO. The idea is we're trying to get Matty to help us with something. So we're going to try to go through what is being told to Matty. He now knows, like, okay, so the guy that was working with my husband is Lee Harvey Oswald. He's the director of the Department of Truth. What is going on? What does this have to do with my husband? Well, here's kind of like the story as it's presented in this book. Some rehash, but again, it's very kind of important to reiterate this. So let's go through this. I just want to preface this again. Me just telling you what's happening in this book, there are things I'm going to miss, hidden moments in the artwork that I can't describe to you that you have to see for yourself, certain moments in the underlining factors that you don't see. So the idea is that it's kind of starts at the end of World War II, and the U.S. government and the Soviet Union both kind of stumble upon the secrets of the world. The two leading superpowers at that time kind of figure out what's going on here. The U.S. creates the Department of Truth. The Soviet Union creates the Ministry of Lies, right? That's what's going on. Lee Harvey Oswald starts getting involved. He kind of becomes this guy we use as a double agent. He infiltrates the Soviet Union side of things, and there's a beautiful image that really just invokes something scary of just the, you know, the flag, like the sickle and hammer energy just being evoked as a person, and that's like Lee's body consuming him. It's so terrifying, but I really think it's interesting. So Lee defected to the Soviet Union, he infiltrated the Ministry of Lies, and then he brought the secrets back to America, and we realized that the Nazis were obsessed with this, what they believed to be the true form of the devil, and that Aleister Crowley called the Whore of Babylon from the Book of Revelation, a woman dressed in red with no eyes. She has kind of been like the figure of this book we have been studying more on, and we haven't really pinpoint what exactly she is. We know she was Babylon of some kind. She's the whore of Babylon. Some believe her to be the devil. Some maybe she's like a personification of the myth of death or something. Either way, she's this intense figure that we are kind of following throughout this book. And it's like, okay, so the US is like, what does that mean exactly? How are we supposed to deal with that? That's insane. And then you see when the good old Catholic boy John F. Kennedy comes to office, he finds out what they're doing, that they're trying to summon the devil, and he's talking to the Pope like, we're not doing this. So Lee Harvey Oswald's like, no, that's stupid. And he kills the president. And in doing that, he thinks he's going to summon the woman in red, but that's also not really working to any extent. So Lee kind of becomes like the shadowy figure behind the scenes at every single event happening in this point in history. You also see that they kind of mention just the idea of him having more power than Nixon, and Lee's the part that instigates Watergate. And I'm like, that is very specific. That is a very specific thing that you are saying. It's interesting too, and I don't want to say like personally the politics of somebody like Tynan, because I don't know his politics, but what you're reading here is this guy who is clearly like JFK is kind of like the hero who tried to stop all this bullshit from happening, and then everybody else involved was just bad. And that's, again, it's the thing this whole book is about. It's the whole thing the American society today is built on, that the death of Americana was killed alongside JFK. So Harvey just kind of takes over everything. The Soviets doing all their crazy stuff. Thus, we create, the satanic panic in that era to kind of get the world more interested in the idea of summoning, the whore of Babylon. And that leads to the Starface Man, and that leads to Cole. And essentially, the reason we see that Matty is being told this is because Martin Barker is like, you could get your husband to come back, work on this side, and we can save the day. Like, he's kind of wrapped around the finger of Oswald. If you can get him back here, we might actually be able to get the whore of Babylon. You're like, okay, whoa, that's a lot to deal with. And you just see, like, Matty just goes into, I guess it's like a hotel room or someplace he's staying. He's having all these visions. He just collapses on the bed, and you see that the blankets are the American flag. And what I really like, that's kind of understated in this book, that a lot of the times we do see the American flag, it is in the bottom, like the blue and the white stars are in like the bottom corner of the flag to show you that it's like this inverse idea. It's especially used when we're personifying like the black hat stuff, and that is such a fascinating thing. Now, this book, it doesn't feel like we're exploring as many themes as previous ones. It's just kind of like, this is potentially the actual story of what's being said. I think it could be interpreted as the actual story because we're telling it to an outsider. Cole was originally our outsider character, but it's been 20 issues. Cole is no longer the outsider, so it can be Matty. And it's a fascinating story, once again showing you maybe Lee Harvey Oswald is unstable. Maybe he's become this force of nature we're going to have to put down. It all comes back to like the death and the devil, and I understand the need for that, because I guess if you were to look at like myths throughout history, the idea of like religion being the leading one, and the gods and the devils and the spirits and all that stuff kind of being like the leading factor of like the ideas we create in our heads, the theory of God, the theory of death. So having it be that's really cool. I love the interpretation of the Whore of Babylon being that. I think that's way more fascinating than just some generic white guy. So that's awesome. I think that's really cool, and it feels like we're getting back on track a little bit. Like, I've had some hesitations with a couple issues. Sometimes we were sidetracked. Sometimes it felt like you're trying to build up your own mythology, and I guess that kind of makes sense for Tynan, because he's also like coming back to DC Comics to like write for the Sandman, so clearly he's a Vertigo head, and that era really inspires him. And that's what this book feels like. The artwork is phenomenal. The writing is strong. I think Department of Truth is still very good. It has a few hiccups here and there in like the later part of the issues, but this one, it's a really fun story and sticks to all the themes it's being a part of. Just terrifying, interesting theories and creative ideas. Back on track is this book getting? Me thinks so, and I hope it can maintain this. This feels like Tynan will not stop, if that makes sense. It feels like this is going to be his forever book, where he's just going to keep going. Like, there's no real conclusion, because then everything can just be written off as another theory. So if you're going to do 70 issues of this book, man, I'm here for it. Can't wait to see what you're doing. Like it a lot. It's back. 2-month hiatus. It's fine. It's back though. So, the Department of Truth, issue number 20, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck. Vote. Yeah, vote.